everyone. A very happy new year, 2021, from the UK to everyone, and especially to our European brothers and sisters. So I am going to make a little bit of a political statement. Um, you can hear Big Ben, but very much we are still Europeans. I know that as of today, there has been this evil thing called Brexit, and I know a lot of people agree with it, and a lot of people don't agree with it. But personally, as an aeronautical engineer, as an engineer, I think Brexit is a horrible disgrace that's going to destroy everything and has destroyed everything a lot. So I wanted to send a message to all our European brothers and sisters across Europe. We are still part of you. We are still part of Europe, and we hopefully are going to one day, very soon, return to being members of the EU. So save our star. I usually don't make political statements, but I felt that it is very, very important um, that I send out this message. Yeah, so a very happy new year. I hope it goes well for you. I hope it brings a lot of good health to you all. But on from my end, I really think that Brexit is a disgrace, and I hold my horses on that. I am not backing down on that because I have seen the destruction Brexit has caused, especially in my industry in aviation. Um, so what I will do is I'm just going to shut the TV off for a moment. Okay, but I can't shut off the fireworks that are going on outside, and that is probably my phone. So I'm just gonna put my phone into silent for friends. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to start a video with moment of history kind of thing. It's a big history kind of thing today. The UK has left properly kind of like the EU, and I am at a multicultural, multi-international, international university, and I have friends from everywhere in the globe. So everything that the politicians have been saying and everything, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong, and it's all based on lies. And I make absolutely no apology, or because hardly anyone watches my channel anyway, so that's fine. I'm not losing subscribers. So it's my place to say things that I feel strongly about. So yeah, so if there's anyone in Europe watching, anyone across the world watching, you know what? As a proud British national and as a proud European, my rights have been taken away by a number of people. The rights of children to come after me have been taken away. The Erasmus scheme has been taken away. Trade has been taken away. The security of aviation and the maritime industry has been taken away by Brexit. It's not all rosy rule Britannia like everybody's saying. They're saying that we've gained independence. Independence from what? We were already independent. We have a monarch. We have Her Majesty the Queen. We have our own armed forces. We still have the pound. We have our own laws. But what they didn't tell you is that we are now no longer part of the European policing system. So if there is a criminal in Europe, we're not going to be told about it immediately because they pulled us out of that system. They pulled us out of Erasmus, which is a education scheme which allows children in education to go over to Europe and study for a couple of months or a year, especially at university. They let us go for a year, and all this money wastage and immigrants, and it was all a total lie. And I'm absolutely not backing down on my argument. It's not a political rant, but I feel very, very, very strongly about it, and I think it's time that people always say. I was listening to. The reason I wanted to say this, I was listening to the people at X Overland. If you have a look at their channel, it's called X Overland, and they did an interview of a number of special forces people, special forces medics, and one of the special forces medics, he's a doctor with some branch of the military in the USA. He didn't want to say because special forces, but yeah. So he said that his father taught him something, and I absolutely loved what his father taught him. His father taught him that yes, we are responsible for our actions, okay, but we are also responsible for our inactions. So I kept that, was like a poker to my heart. I thought, you know what, that is a brilliant quote, and that quote really needs to be written everywhere. We are responsible for our inactions. When you walk past someone who needs help, you are responsible for walking past someone who needs help. You know, so I thought it is, I don't want to be the person who was irresponsible for my future generation, for my future engineers, that I didn't speak up for them. And I know a lot of people in my industry that are not speaking up for them, because who are not speaking up for me because I am a junior engineer. They're not speaking up for me because they want to keep their jobs. So I will never be the person that does not stand up for the right thing. Whether that gets me abuse or whether that gets me insults or whatever, I will stand, because I come from a family who have always fought for the right thing. I come from a very long military family, and I'm not letting them down. And I strongly believe, with evidence, that this thing is wrong, and we need to be. There is give and take in every relationship, and being part of Europe, being part of the EU, was a give and take relationship. Yes, some parts weren't, always good for maybe a little bit of the UK, and some parts were fantastic for a bit of the UK. But every relationship, in order for it to work, you have to give and take. And I think that this is a monumental divorce that is only going to benefit a few people, who, incidentally, let me tell you, like these politicians like Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's a very, very big politician in Somerset. He thinks he's a very big person. He's an idiot. He's a con man. He has moved all his money to Ireland, not Northern Ireland, Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, with its own constitution. That Ireland. So he has all his investments in in Ireland. Sorry. And today it was announced that Boris Johnson, Boris Johnson, the person who is apparently the British Prime Minister, his father has claimed French nationality. I wonder where France is. Is that country in Europe? Yeah, with President Macron of France, Emmanuel Macron. Yeah, that country? France. He has quoted, he's applied for French nationality, so which means that Boris Johnson's family will now be French. So for people like us who don't have any relationships with the EU, or aren't married into the EU, or like we don't have a partner in the EU or something like that, we don't have EU nationality to an EU country, we have lost that right. And I am absolutely angry and livid about it, because future children will not have the ability to go and study there, and it might take years. It might take 10 years before something can be hatched together, because believe me, universities are very, very lazy. They are interested in money. They are interested in looking after their backside and being protected by lawyers, so they don't do anything on the spot. They don't do anything quickly. They are too much interested in being every university. They're too much interested in looking after themselves. So it's not going to be very easy to get British students access to the EU that quickly. And you can only go for 90 days. You can't. Then you have to apply for a visa. It's going to be horrible. So anybody, and I've seen some tweets today from people in America that are very famous preppers on the YouTube community, and they are absolutely so proud of what the British have done in Brexit. And and I sent some messages to them saying that this is the wrong thing, and obviously I'm not going to get replies and I'm going to get blocked, and I don't really care. They're so very proud of what the UK done. I'm British. I am not proud, and I hold myself up for that. I am not proud. I voted Remain, and I stand by that. And I know there will be some British people who watch this and send me insults. You know what? I'll just delete your comments, because I'm an engineer. I work with people. I live in the northwest of the UK. I work with engineers. I work with people whose basic trade depends on our relationship with the EU, because you know what? The EU is such a good system that the entire world follows EU design regulations. It doesn't follow British regulations. So do you really, 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 really think that people say in the UAE or Qatar or Australia or Malaysia or Indonesia or India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Japan, China, who bring in specific things, like from my industry they bring in specific things that are made, they all work to EU regulations, and just because we are out of EU regulations, they are not automatically going to say, oh, you know what, those British, they are so super awesome, let's just ditch all the EU people and let's just ditch everyone in EU, and let's just switch over to the British. Why would they do that? Because we don't have the factory manufacturing stuff. We don't have that capability. We work with the Europeans, and we capability share with the Europeans. A lot of the companies in the northwest of the UK that manufacture very important parts have moved their manufacturing capabilities to places like Romania, to Poland, and they did that 2 years ago because they knew Brexit was going to be a farce. And I know those engineers who work for those companies, they now continuously go to Romania and Poland and work there for a couple of months and come back, and then they go there again. That's their job. That's the reality of this problem. So people saying, it's going to be so rosy, it's going to be so great. It's not. It's not. And even, this person, Jacob Rees-Mogg, whom I absolutely dislike because he's a liar, he said, oh, you know what? It'll be about 30 plus years before we realize how good Brexit is. Well, you know what? 30 years, in 30 years, I am now 35. You know what? In 30 years, I'm going to be, 75? I don't want to wait till I'm 75. I won't even be alive till I'm 75 to reap the benefit of Brexit. It's not going to work. So I am very angry. And I haven't been this angry on my YouTube videos ever. And I'm always positive, and I'm always jumpy and laughing. And you know what? I thought, a friend of mine, she said, let's be honest on YouTube videos. Let's be honest on social media. And I took that, and I thought, you know what? You said something that I wish everybody would say. I don't want to be an influencer on YouTube. I'm not an influencer. I look at the amount of subscribers. I don't have any subscribers. I have a few, like 100 or so subscribers or something. But I'm absolutely grateful for those subscribers. I'm so very grateful. But, I don't have millions of subscribers, and hardly anyone watches my videos. So it's fine. I'm not losing anything. And I want to be, and I've always said my videos are going to be blatantly honest, and blatantly to the point. And yeah, I really wanted to say what I wanted to say. So don't be offended by it, but it is the honest truth, and I say that honest truth from evidence, from speaking to people who are really being impacted by it. And it's not that easy. There is this MP called Andrea Leadsom, I think, and she was on a couple of days ago, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm going to be celebrating with English champagne on the night of Brexit on tonight." And she said, she blamed everyone. She said, "Oh, the businesses that are saying that they are not prepared, well, it's their fault." Well, guess what? Today I was listening to BBC News, and a couple of businesses came on, and they said, "You know what? We don't even know what to prepare for. We've been asking, what should we prepare for? What should we be doing?" So there was a business that there's a business somewhere that's that trades butterflies, rare butterflies, and so on. And this business owner was saying, "I don't know what to prepare for because I don't know what will happen. And I thought, this is the real on the ground reality, not the glamorous Instagram influencer reality. I dislike influencers. I really dislike the positivity that they give out because it's rubbish. And that was the kind of fake positivity that was given out to make people, to psychological warfare people, to get them to vote for Brexit. And it's a total mess. It's an absolute total mess. So, I just wanted to send that message out to everyone that Brexit is wrong. It will destroy our children's future. It's definitely destroyed my future. My industry in aviation, there are no more jobs in my speciality. So I'm going to have to leave the UK at some point. I have 3 degrees in September. I will have 3 degrees in aviation. and I have over 15 years of experience, and there's no jobs. There aren't going to be specialist jobs for me, so I have to leave the UK and go to America, or I go and apply for citizenship and work permanent works visas for some country in the EU, which isn't going to be really that easy. Um, so nothing is easy anymore, and they've destroyed a very good relationship. So I am livid, and it's not about me. It's about, as I have said, it's, as a junior engineer, someone's a friend of mine. I heard someone say that, when you go up the ladder, don't destroy that. Make sure that the rungs below you are strong enough for other people to come up. So don't blow off the ladder, the rungs below you, so that other people can't follow you up. And I see that a lot. I see that a lot. That, people get to the top, they don't help you come up. So I never want to be that person who doesn't help someone. I want to be that person who turns around and says to my junior engineers who are coming up, below me in terms of experience and in terms of degrees and so on. I want to turn around and say to them, you know what? I'm here for you. I will help you. So it is my duty, to not be selfish, because in the coming generations, I want children to become engineers. I want them to become engineers because we are a very good profession. So I don't want them, once they become two engineers, they turn around to me and say, oh, you know what? I have spent 10,000 a year for a 5-year degree, and where's the job? How am I going to pay off 50,000, 60,000 pounds? Because, they might want to get married, they might want to get a house, they'll be paying off debt for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I don't want them to be in that kind of place. And the people who are saying, oh, it's going to be very easy to pay off that, you know what? Those people, they only paid £1,000 for university, and some of them didn't even pay for university, because back then, it was far easier for them for their parents to pay off their debts. So always quantify things. So yeah, that was a little bit of a rant, but it was so very important that I wanted to share my passion with you, and that's what I always do. I share my passion with you. Right. Okay. But let's move on. Okay. So a little bit of positivity. So yeah, as I said, Happy New Year, and what is this year? I want to do a set of videos now for this year and for my channel, that are going to concentrate on philosophy and the right way to be a prepper. I love being a prepper. I love being an engineer, but I love being a prepper. Long before I knew what the word prepper was, or the word prepper existed, or some very fancy channels that have come after my channel, and have got millions of subscribers because they do flashy videos and they're selling. They're being sponsored by so many people. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I will never accept sponsorship by anyone, because I want my channel to be absolutely brutally honest. So I see a lot of videos in terms of prepping that aren't really prepping videos. What they're doing is they're saying, buy this tool, and oh, by the way, I'm being sponsored by XYZ company. And go buy their tools. They're super awesome. And you know what? They are, the way they talk in their videos is like as if they've cured cancer or something. I was watching this video on a survival kit the other day, and this guy was like, oh, you know what? This is... Sorry, I dropped some water. He was saying, oh, you know what? This item is so cool. This item is so cool. And he was like, and I was like, dude, you're not curing cancer. It's just a radio. So I never want to be like that. I still want to maintain my independence in terms of being able to say what I want to say. And I think I like that on my channel. So something always goes wrong. I just struck water. Never mind. Yeah, I'm not going to edit that out. It's fine. That'll dry up. Okay, so where was I? So I want to do a couple of videos that on philosophy of preparing. As I said, I really like being a prepper, and I enjoy being able to talk about preparation, and I enjoy being able to discuss things with you. And I think it's time that we discuss education of prepping. I haven't seen many videos, and I have been watching videos for over 10 years on this subject on YouTube, I haven't seen many videos that are actually teaching you on how to be a prepper and the philosophy and the reasoning. And I find, and a lot of people say I waffle in my videos. I do, but there is a there is a very, very important reason why I waffle. It's to educate and to share strategic, evidence based reasoning. I mean, why do I carry two pliers? Why? I'll explain. Why do I do a specific first aid course? I'll explain. Why do I do this? I'll explain. Whereas with I saw this video, and this he's a prepper, and he has so many subscribers, and he said, oh, you know what, this saw model is now so last year, but this brand new saw model is just so awesome, and I've gotten rid of that saw model, but this saw model is awesome. And I said, okay, cool, but why do you only have one saw now? You've removed the other one, but you've only still got one saw. Well, do you know the limitations of that saw? It's very easy for you to say, oh, you know what? I've seen Navy SEALs carry this saw, and they have literally, they've ripped apart an aircraft with this saw, and I've seen Bear Grylls take out an elephant with just by looking at them. Therefore, this saw is going to be the most perfect saw for me, and it will never break on me. Really? Because I'm an engineer, right? You can't say things like that to me, because every tool that you have has a limitation. I'll give you an example. The Leatherman Raptor shears. Now, I got so much abuse on the video I did for Leatherman Raptors that I eventually made it private. I made a video, 2 videos on the Leatherman Raptor shears as a disabled person, showing my view. It wasn't anything against Leatherman Raptors. I said they were awesome, and I carry them. I have them in my bag, but I said, you know what? There are some limitations to this, and I immediately got some very, very disgusting, abusive comments over the last 2 years on that sort of video, and I put it to private. I thought, you know what? I'm not interested in engaging with such comments. There was a couple of comments like, oh, you know what, I'm a paramedic, and I carry my Leatherman Raptor shears every day, and I have addressed people, I've taken care of casualties with these. Then I looked up on their channels, and I couldn't find anything of them showing them using Raptor shears. Interesting. So, and then I got some very, very abusive, disgusting comments, and I thought, really, did you really do that? Because then I spoke to my sisters, and my sisters are surgeons. So I said to my sisters, is this true? I already knew the answer, but I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were. So my sister was like, no, it can't be true, because if you use your Leatherman Raptor scissors in the field to cut open somebody's trousers or a skirt or something, and any bodily fluid, especially blood-borne bodily fluid or plasma, gets onto the into the hinges or onto the teeth or onto the cutting or onto the handle, you cannot use that same instrument, be it a Leatherman Raptor. She said, I don't care what it is, a pair of shears. You cannot use it to for another casualty, especially if it has any of casualty one's liquids on it. So be that urine, be that blood, be that any, because because you don't know what that human might have in their blood. That human might have an infection in their blood, which now you have gone and put onto the other casualty and infected them with that infection. Now you've just biologically infected, and you've cross-shared in an infection from one casualty to the other, and potentially you might have killed that second casualty because you have used an instrument that you used on one person. And I have a lot of I was born in a military hospital, so because my family were in the military. My sisters are surgeons. My mum is a surgeon. I know a lot of I know people who are active duty military surgeons, and one of them said to me, you know what? A couple of paramedics came and said, you know what? We used our Leatherman Raptors today. Isn't it cool? How cool is it that we managed to cut open a person with that? And he said to them, you know what? Cool. You now need to go and throw those raptor scissors away. And they're like, what? Why? These are Leatherman raptor scissors. These are Leatherman raptor scissors. It's like, yeah, but have you autoclaved them? And they're like, no, we just cleaned them. No, you have, because technically there will be some pathogens on there that you can't just wash off. That's why hospitals don't just wash off their equipment. They send it to a specialized autoclave washing facility, which uses excruciatingly high temperature to burn those instruments off and to clean them. And they go through several processes to get their equipment cleaned. Nobody else has access to that. I don't have access to that, and I most certainly know that there will probably be only 0.001% of people who actually have access to that facility, because it's pretty much only surgeons and hospitals and labs who have that facility. Your everyday person who does first aid does not have access to that kind of facility to get their instruments autoclaved. So you need to know the technical limitations of that, and I got so much abuse for that. And I'm here to educate you and to teach you about the philosophy and the technical capabilities and the technical limitations of prepping. But also, I want to teach you how to learn to learn. I about 10 years ago, I watched a video, and the video, it was a public video. It's nothing secret, anything. It was by I think by that time he was a retired US Navy SEAL, and he said, you know what, people think that we are these super people that get everything right every time. That's the wrong thing. We prepare for failure, and everything that happens correctly is not that we succeeded in something, it's that we prevented something from going wrong. So we are there to prevent failure, but also we are specialists in becoming specialists. And what he meant by that was, for example, if you have to go tomorrow and do a presentation, or if you have to go and speak to someone tomorrow who doesn't speak your primary language, are you going to just sit there and try and speed learn the entire language? It's not possible, is it? Whereas if you know that you need to know a couple of specific words, a couple of specific sentences that will, like saying, hello, I am from, can you do this, or tell me, that will be the more specific, elegant way, more articulate way to learn. And I think there's a lot of videos on YouTube that are not teaching you that. So I'm going to do a series of videos. It's going to take me a bit of time. This is just an introduction to those videos. I'm going to try and plan them out. It will take me some time, but I will try and get some out, maybe once a month or something. Don't hold me to that, but I will try, because I'm going to be really busy with university now. But I will try and do some videos. So one thing, as a working example, I wanted to give you two working examples. And the first, before I give you the examples, one thing I want to say to you: carry a pen and a notebook with you at all times. There's so many people I see on everyday carry videos that don't have a pen and notebook. They will have like 5 knives, but they don't have a pen and notebook. Carry a pen and notebook with you at all times. This should go by your bedside table when you go to bed. This should be in your pajamas when you're at home. And when you get dressed, when you get showered, this should go back into your pockets, into your suit pocket or into your trouser pocket or your shirt pocket. Carry a pen and a notebook with you at all times. Record everything, write everything, plan everything, okay? So that was the first thing I wanted to say. So, secondly, I'm going to give you two working examples. Now, in terms of planning and learning to prepare and learning to learn is going to be the sort of the working title of these series in this video. I want you to think about, for example, you go and do a first aid course, okay? Why are you doing that first aid course? A lot of people say to me, well, we're doing that first aid course because it might just help us generally in everyday life. Okay, cool. But does that first aid course teach you everything or even some special things that you might come across? I don't think so, because I've seen so many first aid courses that are absolute junk. What they will do is they'll teach you how to use a triangular bandage, they'll teach you how to do CPR, but they won't teach you the limitations of doing CPR or the special circumstances that you need to prepare before you do CPR. You know, they'll teach you, oh, a casualty might you might need to do CPR mouth to mouth, and they might have something in their mouth, so just put your finger in and take. Well, why would you put your finger into someone's mouth? You might have a cut on your hand. So, do you have gloves with you at all times? I don't know. Do you? So you need to carry gloves. So you need to learn how to do specific things. For example, you've done a first aid course, okay? You've just come across a car accident where there is a pregnant woman inside the car. Does your first aid course tell you how to deal with pregnant women? I've not seen many first aid courses. I've not seen many general first aid courses available to civilians that teach you how to deal with pregnant women. Does it tell you? They'll say, "Oh, okay, you need to do CPR on someone." Well, if someone's involved in in a road traffic collision, are you just going to walk straight up to them, yank them out of the car, and put them on the floor and start doing CPR? Because you might just kill them whilst you're doing that, because they might have a spinal injury, they might have a neck injury, they might have fractured their hip, they might have soft tissue internal damage from the explosion of the airbag. So why are you doing a first aid course? Are you doing it just to be able to look after yourself inside the house, to do basic stuff like put on a plaster, or hold out till the ambulance comes? Or are you doing a first aid course because, say, for example, you drive to work every day and your drive is maybe 1 hour long, and you go through high intensity traffic like motorways, and you might have been very unfortunate to have to witness a road traffic collision, or I hope I hope you never have to witness one, but unfortunately I don't want to be naive. So you might witness one, or you might have to be wait in the line because some collision has happened. Does your first aid course teach you how to work in that condition? There are some places where if you do the wrong thing, you'll get sued. Even though there is a law called the Good Samaritan law, but even then, some people will sue you. It's weird. Luckily we don't have that in the UK. But generally people in the UK, unless they know what they're doing, they'll just do basic stuff. But I don't want to get involved in politics of that. But so I want to teach you to sort of to investigate why you're learning. So if you're going to do a first aid course, well, I want you to, instead of just jumping into the first aid course and going into just any first aid course, I want you to explore the first aid course. Sit down and plan in your notebook. Why am I doing the first aid course? Well, you know what? I live in the city, so I might have I've seen a certain amount of things that I want to be able to prepare for. Or you might say, well, I live in the wilderness. I'm a farmer. I live way out, so I want to prepare for certain things, and I don't want my course to teach me just general stuff. I want to know what happens if I cut myself, because I use a specific tool, and if that tool slips and it cuts me, I want to know exactly what is here, what is under this bit of skin. I want to know how to do whatever I need to do to save my arm. So I want to know the procedures of, and then you might think, oh, okay, well, if that happens, do I carry a tourniquet? Do I have a mobile phone with me? Does my mobile phone get signal where I'm in different parts of my farm? Does my mobile phone get signal in different parts of my building. You know, you need to really understand why you are learning what you are learning, and you need to have a goal. So I want to learn how to sew. I want sew something. What do you want to sew? Well, my bag might rip. Okay. So then what you need to do is you need to get a bag, you need to rip it, and you need to use the right material, and you need to practice that. And then you need to get your bags, you know, you need to wash your bag and get it really, really wet. And then you need to learn how to sew a wet bag. So really, really define what you are prepping for. I see a lot of videos that they say, you know, we are preparing for a certain thing, and I think, okay, that's cool, but you haven't really defined the metrics of why you're preparing for event A. Say, what happens if event A does happen, but not to the degree you're preparing for, but event B takes over? Are you prepared for event B, event C, event D, or have you just prepared for one event? You know, so you need to write down what you're preparing for and what you're learning. And the easiest way to do it is to go for the 6 journalist questions. Any journalist will ask 6 questions: who, what, where, when, why, and how. So for example, as I mentioned in this case example, you're learning first aid. Well, who are you? Who are you learning it for? What are you going to do with it? Where are you going to apply it? When would you need to apply it? For example, as I said, you're a driver, you drive to work, it takes you about an hour. Well, you know what, you might think, okay, I've learned first aid, but I've only learned first aid, how to do first aid in a very, very well lit environment, like the daytime. Well, what if you're a driver and you only drive at night? Have you prepared? So you might have done a very good advanced first aid course, and they've taught you everything in a very, very well lit room, or they've taken you out into the garden and taught you in a lit situation. But then that might not be your situation. You might be a driver that pretty much drives during night hours or very early dark hours. So are you going to just walk around with a headlamp? If something happens, are you going to walk up to a casualty with a bright LED lumen headlamp? No, because if you do that, and the casualty sees that high intensity light enter into their eyes, their rods and cones are going to give off a startle reflex, and they might move their hand, or their processing in their brain might cause a jerk reaction, and that jerk reaction might then feed out into their hand or into their spine or into their leg, which is damage, and you've just caused damage simply by just being there. So you really need to understand when you're going to apply something. So what you would do, if you're in the dark, you would not use your headlamp as your primary. You would use a medical light, which is a bulb light. So you would ask your tutor to teach you something that is tailored towards you. So you need to be prepared, and you need to take responsibility. You need to coordinate your learning, and I think that is very, very important. So why are you doing it? Well, you want to be able to help someone. That's why you do first aid. And then how are you going to do it? Well, as I mentioned before, an example, how you're going to have the right equipment. You're going to practice. You're going to do an appropriate course that matches your environmental conditions that you're going to find yourself in. So every item of equipment that you buy, every course that you go on, ask these 6 questions: who, what, where, when, why, how. As an investigator, these are the questions that we ask every day. Every time I write a scientific report, these are the questions I'm trying to answer. Every time I look at the specifications of a tool, whether to buy for myself as a prepper or to investigate the failure of a tool, or this tool could be, this is just a placeholder. This could be an aircraft system. This could be the flight management system of an aircraft. This could be the inertial navigation system. This could be the GPS tracker on a ship. These could just be a pair of pliers. It could be a Swiss Army knife, anything. So I tend to ask these questions as to specifically, what am I going to do? So it's very, very important that you do that. And I think a lot of videos are not teaching you to do that. So from this video, what I want you to take away is, one, carry a notebook and pen with you all the time. And first of all, go and write this down on the front cover. Why, what, where, when, who, what, where, when, why, and how. Write that down. Okay? And then try and answer these questions every time. One recommendation I would make is this book. This is a very, very good book. I don't want you to read the medical part of it. Eventually, you will come to read it because it will help you out. But there are a couple of sections on here that I think you need to know before you even buy a Band-Aid, before you even buy a cat tourniquet. I see a lot of people carry cat tourniquets, and I'm like, okay, do you know how to apply that in the dark with one hand to somebody else? And I see a lot of preppers say, I see a lot of people, preppers say, and this isn't criticism, I'm just sort of saying, a lot of preppers say, oh, you know what, I've got the most advanced item of equipment. And I've seen so many preppers say that. And I think, okay, have you done the training for that item? Do you know the limitations of that item? I mean, have you physically explored the limitations yourself? Don't tell me that you've watched a video that has said, oh, you know what? Because I've seen so many videos. And I've seen so many videos on cat tourniquets. And people haven't told you. Sorry, let me just get a glass of water. Sorry, excuse me. Thank you. I've seen so many unboxing videos. And these subscription unboxing videos, I've seen them. You will see them. So I've seen it, and they've got, oh, you know what, look, we've just got this cat tourniquet in here. This is super, super awesome. And then they go and open the cat tourniquet, and then they show you how to apply it. And then they say, oh, you know what, this is so cool. I'm just going to go and put this into my bag. Don't do that. Do you know the limitation of a cat tourniquet after you applied it? Well, the limitations are actually on the cat tourniquet. Do not use twice. And the fact that you've just used it on yourself to practice, you've exceeded the limitation of that tourniquet. So don't tell me that is a fantastic tourniquet and now you're going to carry it, because I'm cringing at that moment, because you have you've exceeded the limitation of that cat tourniquet. Because I've seen some people apply it onto their hands and really, really twist it, and then say, oh, I can feel my blood stopping. Okay, time to take it off. And then say, you know what, that's a really good and you know what, I'm going to put this into my EDC bag. No, stop, think. You have exceeded the limitations of that. And I know I'm going to get abused for saying that, but this is the reality. This is the reality. This is the manufacturer's reality. This is the medical reality. And I say that with evidence. I say that because I've spoken to the doctors. I've spoken to people who actually use that. No medic will tell you to reuse the cat tourniquet ever. So the cat tourniquet you use to practice on yourself should no longer be in your first aid kit ever. And that's what I said to you before when I did my videos, when I got two new tourniquets. I said the one that was in my bag, I took that out, and that's now my practice tourniquet. That is no longer in my bag. That's on a workbench, and it has TX, which stands for training. I will never use that on anybody else. So you need to be aware of what the limitations are, and don't get mad, don't get angry. This isn't an offensive video. It's there to teach you to be better. to be better prepared, and how to learn. So learn the skills and learn them well. Okay, don't get caught up on this is an amazing tool and that's it. No, ask yourself, what are the negative points about that? What are the limitations about that? What are the manufacturer's capabilities and limitations about that? What are the warranties about that? So you need to learn them, and you need to be able to aware of them. And that doesn't mean that you don't use the tool ever. That doesn't mean that you don't carry it. But as in case of the tourniquet as an example, you can no longer carry the tourniquet that you have used to practice on yourself to use on active duty, as in during an emergency. You can't do it because you've exceeded the limitation. So you need to know that. Okay. So this book has some really fantastic things that I've been speaking about, and I'll just show you. So this is the book, and I'm going to turn it around and see if the ISBN number is there. That might just help you to locate it if you're not there's the ISBN number. So this book, what I want you to do is not to read the medical bit, because first aid is important. I do want you to attend first aid courses because we all carry first aid equipment, but I want you to attend a first aid course. But before you do that, I want you to read. First of all, let me take this opportunity to say this book is dedicated to this doctor, and a couple of doctors who are in this in this book are actually my friends. I know them, and you know, every time I see the name, it's like, oh, I know this person. He's on my mobile phone. I have access to them. So this is a really good book. Okay, so this is the book, and I want you to read this. I want you to read section 1, which is expedition medicine, 2, preparations, 3, caring for people in the field, 4, ethics and responsibilities, 5, crisis management, and stop there. Okay, bit of reading. That is 133 pages. Okay, so you've got a lot of reading work to do. I'm giving you a lot of homework. Do the homework. Okay, it'll take you about a month if you want to digest it slowly, but read all of this. And this is even before you carry a plaster in your first aid bag, everyday carry. Read this, okay? This will teach you articulately what I have rambled on about. So this is concerning first aid, okay? So we're discussing first aid. I want you to learn first aid. I think it's important to learn first aid, especially as a prepper. So I'm coming at this video as a prepper. Okay, I'm not talking as an engineer. I'm not talking as a specialist from the recovery group, as someone who goes out into the mountains and something. I'm talking as a prepper, part of the prepper community. Why do we prepare? Well, you know who, what, where, when, why, how. Okay, so today I'm discussing first aid courses. So we all carry, as preppers, we all carry, we like to, why do we prepare? Well, we like to help people, don't we? The prepper community is phenomenal. I could ask a prepper a question who's halfway across the world and they'll reply to me. You know, so we are a very good community, and it transcends nations and tribes. It transcends, and I always get a bit of abuse when I use the word nations and tribes. Don't take that as an offensive word. Nations and tribes is a very good term. I'm a Muslim, so in our and I don't know, I've never talked about religion, but I always get I once used the word nations and tribes on Twitter, and I got a lot of abuse from a lady, and then it took me hours and hours and hours to explain this to her, that the term nations and tribes is a term in the Quran, which means that all of humanity, you know, we are different nations, we are different tribes, and you know, she was from a tribe, an actual tribe, and she took offense at me using the word nation and tribe, and there was no logical reason that I had said. There was no logical reason of why she took offense. She just said because I wasn't from her tribe, I couldn't use the word tribe, and I had offended her. I hadn't, because I didn't even know who she was. She was just came out of the blue, and she said, because you've used the word tribe, you have offended me. I apologized to her, and I said the term nation and tribes is listed in the Quran, and we, you know, it's used because we are nations. USA is a nation, Mexico is a nation. So it's just stating fact, you know. So when I say that, the prepping community transcends everything. We are together, we are one, we don't offend each other, and nothing I have said was meant to offend anybody. So some people will try and bend something, or take an offense from it, and then try and bully you and try to get, those people are really, they're just that they're narcissists. They get a lot of pleasure out of bullying people online, and that is disgusting, and I really hate that. But anyway, coming back to this, so read up to chapter 5 in this book, and then come over and read I'm trying to avoid hitting the wire. Come over and read the chapter 28, which is on medical kits. The reason I want you to read chapter on medical kits is because it'll give you an introduction of medical equipment. So why have I asked you to read this? Well, what all this will do is it will prepare you to ask who, what, where, when, why, and how, in terms of what first aid course you want to do that satisfies who you are and where you're living and what you do, what medical equipment you should carry, how to carry it better, how to plan for it better, and also it will teach you some responsibilities. There are some times where you shouldn't help, because and you will say, what shouldn't help? Well, in terms of you might not have the technical speciality to help, so it's your responsibility to not do something, because you might do more damage than what you intended to do, and if that damage happens, then we live in some of our countries. We live in these countries where people sue people, even though those people were with good intentions. So I really want you to, as a prepper, I want you to read this, because this will really give you a good grounding. And then once you've done that, I want you to go away and have a bit of a research, because I don't know where you are. You might be in a different country to the UK and so on. Do some research after having read that and asking those 6 journalist questions, which you should remember by now. And I'll refresh them again. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. So use those questions to get yourself educated on the right course. Okay, so that was a medical, that was a first aid issue, introduction to that. So another thing why I've brought the pliers, I'm just going to move this away for a moment. So talking about limitations of tools and stuff. As I was saying, people, some people say, oh, well, I've got the latest version of this, and this is a piece of junk, and this is no longer valid. Well, okay, I kind of want to expand on that. You need to know the limitations and the operations of where you're going to use. See that number 3, where you're going to use them, when you're going to use them, why you're going to use them. So I'll give you an example. If you just have one tool, as I gave the example of the Leatherman Raptors, I'll give you an example. A lot of people say to me, well, you've got a whole set of Nipex tools. I use these for forensics, okay? I use these for engineering forensics. Now, I don't use these for anything else other than in the hangar when I need to investigate a system. So these are specifically cleaned. This is my set, so that's why I'm touching it without gloves. This is my personal set that I use to practice, but the one I have in my hangar, that I will not touch that without gloves on, and that is specifically cleaned in a specific manner, so that I know that I'm using that as a forensic tool. Okay, so for example, this is a lineman's pliers. So let's just talk about lineman's pliers for a moment. So a lot of people will say to me, well, everyone knows that Nipex is quite a really well-known brand, whereas these ones are by Draper. These are just a standard brand. So I see a lot of people on YouTube say, well, you know what? I've bought the most elite elite brand, so I no longer need to carry this or use this, or this, I'll just chuck this somewhere in my spares basket or something. Yeah, okay, stop and think what you're saying now. So just because you've bought the latest neatest gadget, what are the limitations of this gadget? Okay, what are the capabilities of this gadget? But for example, where are you going to use it? Are you going to use it for everything? You're just going to use the latest for everything? Are you sure you want to do that? Or do you want to have still maintain a capability of having a general tool, and then having a tool that is used for you dedicate for a condition for when, as in when are you going to use it, so you dedicate it to certain scenarios, and that would be the far more logical thing. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a really as Abby from NCIS would say, a very hinky example. Okay, so this is an example. I'm not going to identify anyone or anything, but this is an example. A British military explosive ordnance disposal engineer was out in Afghanistan, and they came across an IED, an improvised explosive device, and they had to go and sort it out, dismantle it. So when they got there, and this is a bit of an extreme example, but it's going to illustrate something to you. When they got there, they found, the search dog identified it, and then the EOD person went in. When they got there, and this is a very, very sensitive example, what I'm about to tell you. So put down your drink, finish your drink, take a deep breath and relax, okay? So when the EOD operator got there, they found the explosives, but on top of the explosives, they found that there's no other way to say this, the terrorists, because they are terrorists, the terrorists had human defecated over the explosive. And they knew that when our engineers went and tried to dismantle that explosive, they would have to put their hands into their excrement before they could get to before they could get to the bit that they could disengage. And that engineer luckily had two sets of tools, because if you just have this tool now and you were in that that kind of situation, cleaning this tool is going to take ages, and the smell isn't going to go away. And are you really going to then hunk around that tool? Most likely you would want to dispose of that tool. So you need to and that was a very, and my heart, my love, my respect goes out to that EOD engineer. They have seen some very, very disgusting things, and that was an engineering example that I use, as in you need to know the environment conditions you're going to use your tools in. And it's pointless saying that it's pointless saying that I now have this latest and greatest gadget and the other ones are useless to me, or I'm not going to use them, because I think that argument is not a very a constructive argument for preppers, I think. So as a prepper, you need to assess everything you do, and if that means that you have to carry a spare, then you carry a spare. You carry a dedicated spare. For example, let me give you a prepper example. I've seen so many preppers say, this is my primary knife, and this is the only knife I carry, and I can skin game with this, I can skin fish with this, but I can also cut wood with this, and I can also do this with this, and this is an all-round knife, and to hell with everyone else, and this knife is the best thing ever to hit the market. And I think, oh, did you just say you're going to cook food with that knife after you've used it around? Well, you know what? You've now contaminated that knife because you're going to skin something with it. You don't have the correct You could, you don't. Are you really going to follow the correct procedures to disinfect that knife in the field? What if you've touched a mushroom with that knife and that mushroom has oils on it? You cannot get those oils off in the field. You need excessive high water and some certain chemicals to make sure that the oils from a mushroom are off your tools. So, are you just going to have one knife that you're going to do everything with, or are you going to have a dedicated knife that you are going to use to just cut mushrooms, and you're going to have some gloves that you're going to dedicate to that, and then you're going to have a tool to do other stuff, non-mushroomy stuff. You need to have a dedicated set of tools. So you need to. This is why I gave you an extreme example of the operator, the EOD operator. You tend to come across environments that are so sort of weird and strange. So you need to think about them. You need to prepare for them. And how can you prepare for them? The 6 journalist questions that I've said. So sit down and analyze. And I think it will help you become a better prepper, because preparation isn't about just all the equipment. It's about knowing the limitations. It's about using the equipment in a right way. And you need to learn. This is where my engineering comes in. 50% of being a prepper is about knowledge, and the other 50% is about tools, and they are both interlinked. It's not one on its own. They're both interlinked, and they both feed into each other and reciprocate. So you need to start educating yourself. You need to improve your education methodology. You need to learn how to learn, and then you need to apply that to everyday scenarios as a prepper. And I think if you learn that strategy, it will definitely make you a better prepper. And once you're a better prepper, then you can make a YouTube video on the skill you've learned and teach other people on how to do it, and share what you've learned. Because I see a lot of people who are sort of hoarding skills or something, but they're not sharing. They're not willing to tell you where to go and where to get some special help from. Some people tell you, some people don't. So I don't like it when they do that. Not necessarily in the prepper community, but generally. So I thought I would do. It's been an hour and 2 minutes now, so I'll stop rambling. But I thought I will have a bit of a chat with you about some series of videos that I'm going to do, and I'm going to plan them out and do more of them later on. We'll see how it goes. So let me know your feedback about this. In this video, I'm going to say nothing I have said is meant to insult anyone. So if nothing I've said is meant to insult anyone. So if you take anything I have said and you say I've insulted someone and then try to get hate towards me, I'm just not going to accept it. I'm just going to delete it, because my aim is to teach, and I've used some I've used some extreme examples to illustrate the speech and illustrate examples of why. See? Why? Number 5, why? So, to illustrate the reasoning and the philosophy and the rationale and the strategy that you need to employ. So you need to learn how to learn, and don't take anything I have said as in bad light or as an offense. Take it and learn from it. And I started this video on a different topic, and I'm ending it on a different topic. I'm moving forward, and that's what you need to do. You need to move forward. Make that the motto of 2021. It's going to be a very difficult year, people. It's going to be a very, very difficult year. Political wise, it's going to be extremely difficult. Logistically, it's going to be very difficult. Emotionally, it's going to be very difficult. So move forward, but also move forward strategically, with balance, with articulation, with plan. And if I can help you in any way, my messages are always open. Send me a positive message and I will reply. If you send me a negative message, I'm just going to delete it, because I'm not interested in negativity. And don't twist my words. I've had a lot of abuse on YouTube about the raptor videos I made, some other videos, and I'm just not gonna interact with that kind of abuse. I'm not here for it. I love how the urban prepper deals with abuse. He's always so very positive. I read his comments. He gets so much vile abuse. Cliff at the other urban prepper. He gets so much vile abuse, and I love how he's always so positive. And I tend to be a person who is more direct. I'm sort of contrary to the urban prepper. On the flip side of the, if someone abuses me, I will tell them to go away and just end the conversation. Whereas the urban prepper tends to be far more diplomatic. He's definitely an ambassador, I would say. Whereas I'm more the redneck. I will say, get lost. I wish I could be more diplomatic. I would love to be more diplomatic, but I'm a bit of a redneck. So we'll work something out. But yeah, I'm going to finish this note again back to my more happier state. So thank you very much for watching and the interactions that you did with me last year, and especially all the messages that you sent me when my aunt and my brother passed away. They really, really helped. Thank you so very much. So moving forward, going into 2021, move forward, be successful, be prepared, be strategic about it, and don't look at the negatives, look at the positives, and try and work out every scenario that you get hold of and every scenario that you have to face. Try and work out to the best of your ability how to make it better. And if you lack the ability that you need to learn is how to get information and help. Ask for help, people. It is not a bad thing to ask for help. Ask for help. Asking for help is one of the best abilities that anyone can have. So there's help available. So if you don't know something, ask. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the video. A bit of a rant, but I wanted to share things with you, and I wanted to be honest. I wanted to be blatantly honest, and I wanted to also teach you some stuff. So I hope you take from this video, I hope you take away some positivity. I hope you take away some philosophy, as in the ranting that I gave you some examples, and I hope you learn your own philosophy and you generate your own examples. Come back and tell me what you found useful, and what you'd like me to explain more or something, or if there's any idea that you're working on and that you want me to do a video on it for you to explain or to help you with something. I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay, so good luck with everything, and thank you very much, and I shall see you in the coming new year on some further videos. Thank you very much, and good luck, and I'll see you soon. Bye.